and welcome. What is your character's name?
Well, when I put on this outfit, I either go by the name Mathew Sterling, which was a combination of my cousin Matthew's name and my grandfather's name, or Robert Simon Farnaby, who is a relic seller of, well, cattle for you too.
Food and some air conditioning.
It fit in a dragon's mouth. I personally pulled out after we got it drunk.
Whoa.
Oh yes. Well, actually we got it drunk by the knights came to fight, and before they fought, I gave them a lot of ale. Well, they couldn't fight very well with the ale in them, and the dragon ate them. And he got drunk. And after that, it was just pull them out. So either if I'm in my soldier's gear, Mathew Sterling, or if I'm selling you a bad tooth, yeah, then that is Robert Simon Farnaby.
Okay.
And right now I am carrying, well, this is called Button Lignum. That stands for Boomstick.
Whoa.
And what this is, it is a replica of a medieval hand cannon. This would have been roughly between 1350 and 1400. Notice there is no trigger on this, because literally you fired it, you put your powder, you put your shot in, and this type of weapon was more or less a shotgun. I talked to a battle reenactor who said they would fill it with small pebbles, sweepings off the smithy floor to create a shotgun effect to discourage the opposition.
They would discourage me quickly.
Yes. And as I've told a few kids over the years, medieval handguns, one of three things is going to happen. The first thing is you didn't use the right kind of saltpeter in making your gunpowder, and absolutely nothing happens. Two, your barrel can't take the force of the explosion, and all of a sudden your name is Stumpy, assuming you survive. Or you fire it, and because they didn't develop ways of making a gun accurate, you could hit in the general area of your target, but a chance of hitting your actual target slim to none. So, right, and these weapons were the earliest guns used in Europe. Now again, over the next few hundred years they got better. About maybe within 50 years of this they started using kind of trigger. And by the 1600s we have the flintlock pistols. But this is the earliest thing, and you fired it like you would fire a cannon. So I had this made for me by a co-worker, and it goes to what I call theatre rule. It looks right. Could it actually be used? No. It's a good club, and that's all it's good for. Because this is copper tubing that I hung over ammonia for about 2 or 3 days, giving it this nice tarnished look, and I need to do some work down here at the end of the barrel to hide the solder where that was put on. But I've done little things to it to kind of try to age it a bit. Again, it goes by theatre rule, so it looks right. I even used it in a play once, where my character had to come out carrying a rifle. I thought, it would be really fun if I used this. Nobody in the audience would know what it was, but still I'd have fun using it. So it's been in an actual play.
And why this, the stand? Why not just hold it?
Now, the reason for this, notice this is fairly short. It's not supposed, it should be actually longer. But the measurements we had at the time said this was the length. So if I'm holding it like this and fire it, well, I'm going to get hit with a load of powder coming out of here.
Right.
This allows me to fire it safely. Again, I contacted a battle reenactor and asked him, well, what would I need for this? And he told me, well, you're going to need a gun stand. You're going to need a linstock, which was just a short stick, about yay long, that you had your fuse in. Now, they didn't put a fuse in this. What they used was a slow burning match, which is a cord that's been impregnated with the gunpowder mixture, and it burns at a rate of something like 1 foot per hour. I'll have to look it up again because I'm probably getting a few things wrong. It's been a while since I read the material. But they'd put this slow burning match to it, to this, and set it off that way. Now, so that's when the way they would fire this thing. So slow burning match, I read in one book where they might use a heated wire. Either way, you're putting something hot and burning against this. And so that powder's going to come out, and you want to be away from it. Some weapons might have a kind of a hook here at the barrel, again, so they can kind of rest it on a wall. So, you know, this is just some of the tools. The rest of the tools, sadly, I've put away. But I made my own tools go with it. They're not entirely accurate, but we're back to theatre rule. And for doing presentations in the school like we used to do, they were perfectly adequate. Now, if I wanted to go in to join a reenactment group, yes, I would be getting everything absolutely perfect. Because I know some of those. I had a roommate who was a Civil War reenactor. And although he didn't keep his gear in his dorm room, he showed me some of the stuff he had to buy to be accurate. So if I were to be doing actual combat, all of this would go and I would have the real things. As it is, I have a bag of gunpowder. By the way, it's black craft sand. I made the scoop to go with it. I made the ramrods. I made the cleaning rods. Because I have to have 2 rods to go with this. Once you fire it, there's burning embers inside. So before you reload it, you have to swab it out. So you use first one that's wet to put out the embers, then another to clean out what's left. Then it's safe to reload. And you're probably looking at a time, I don't know how long. I remember seeing a battle reenactor in 2000. Now they were using early 19th century rifles. And he was explaining that a rifleman of that time could fire off about 3 shots in a minute. So we're going to take a guess, rough guess, that was probably about the same rate of fire with these. So you've got quite a bit of time to reload and get it ready to go again. Early days, for the first 10 to 20 years, this was a shock and awe weapon. It was pretty much useless. Well, yes, you could kill someone with it, I won't say that. But for the first 20 years, it scared the horses. But after a while, they got used to the sound of these on the battlefield. And some kings actually had ordinances of how you're supposed to outfit your gunners. On a larger scale, Henry V, when he invaded France in 1450, carried along 75 gunners. Several master gunners, several cannon, and used them in the first stage of his invasion of France. Now, he left them at that first place at the city of Harfleur, but he had them to start with. They were a little hard to carry around, so once they got them there, to that place, they left them there in the care of the garrison. So I've picked up a few things over the years, and all it comes down to is asking the right questions and knowing who to ask those questions to. So I actually emailed the Royal Armoury in England, asking them questions about these kind of weapons. And he gave me a few answers, and he directed me to a book, which I have at home, and it's been a few years since I read it. So again, my memory is a little faulty, so I try to be as close as possible, or if not, as general as possible.
When this goes off, now some guns, they'll have the kick that go up and the cannons go back, so is this kind of like in between?
This will probably about be in between. I mean, this would have a bit of a kick to it. Now again, this one was early, more or less just kind of a shotgun. Now I've seen actually where someone built one, a gunsmith built one, and I watched him fire it. And there seemed to be a little bit of a kick to it. Of course, a little bit of theatrics too, because what they fired it at was a barrel. They definitely put an explosive charge in just for the beauty of it. But this would probably have a little bit of a kick. Now, I've yet to fire a real one. I fired my DAS 22 rifle. That's been a long time past. So I am interested in this, but when it comes down to it, I'm a coward. Let someone else do it. And this being copper, if I tried putting a charge into this thing, you're looking at a bomb. It'd go off in their hands, and again, goodbye. But the real thing would have been cast iron or cast brass. It's fun. I'm learning speeches from Shakespeare for the first of the lecture series. And Shakespeare even mentions cannons in one of his speeches, where Henry V is telling, let's see, it prized with the portrait of the head like the brass cannon. So he's referring to cannons and other terms. When I read the speech, like, oh, I know that term. I know what he's talking about. So yes, this is a fine weapon. And I actually had a friend of mine at church make a copper plate with the words Button Lignum, which bad Google Translate Latin for boomstick. And if you've ever seen the movie Army of Darkness, there's this great scene where Bruce Campbell, being sent back in time with a shotgun and a chainsaw, holds up his rifle. This is my boomstick! That's out of 12 gauge double Remington, X-Smart's top of the line. So one day I'm going to adapt that speech to this weapon.
Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Certainly. Good day, Sergeant.
All right, thank you guys for showing up for this one, and we will see you next time. And please don't forget to click the bell, ring the bell actually, subscribe, and if you have any comments and questions, please ask, and we will answer them as quick as possible. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.